All right, so today I'm going to be showing you kind of the three levels of approaching a coding interview question. Being from level one, you have no coding experience at all, and then level three, you have some coding knowledge. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Currently, I'm on Leet Code. I'm going to go to Top Interview Questions and then open up to some. So with this problem, first thing that we want to do is read the problem description here. So given an array of integers, nums, and an integer target, I return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can also return the answer in any order. So with level one, what level one is referring to is you really want to be able to solve the problem on paper first. So let's take a look at example one here and see. So we have our list of nums here and our target 9, meaning what we want to add up to. So if I take a look at this, I'm just going to first go through this entire list here. So I'm going to start here, and then I'll go through the remaining to see if they add up to 9. So I'll start here. So does 2, and then we'll go to 7. Does 2 plus 7 add up to 9? Yes, it does. Okay, perfect. Then let's take a look at example 2. So we'll just apply that same kind of logic. First, we'll go through the list here. So let's see. So we'll go through the list, and then we'll go through the remaining. So we'll start at 3, and then we'll go through the remaining here. So 3 plus 2. Does that add up to 6? No. 3 plus 4, does that add up to 6? No, it does not. So then we go to this next part here. So we move down 1 to 2. And then we check, does 2 plus 4 add up to 6? Yes, it does. So we go ahead and return that. So level 1 is really about if you're able to write the paper solution, if you're able to write that paper solution out. So what did we say first? Well, we said that we want to go through the list and then go through the remaining list to check if the nums, so we can say current nums add to the target. And then after that, we want to return the indices here. So that's just, the indices is nothing except the location of that element in the list. So 2, if we take a look at example 1 here, 2's location in the list is 0 because it's the 0th index in the list. 7's location in the list is 1 because it's the first element in the list, or the one element in the list. So we start at 0 in our lists here. So that's level 1. You want to be able to demonstrate or show that you can actually solve the problem on paper and then your thoughts about that particular solution. So level 2 actually does require some coding knowledge, and what we want to do is implement our level 1 solution through code here. So if we go ahead and kind of look at our level 1 solution, we want to go through the list, then go through the remaining list to check if the current nums add to the target, and then return. So if we look at this here, this go through the list, well, that should kind of be ringing bells in your head like, hey, this might, we need to loop through something. So let's go ahead and create our for loop here. So we can say for I in range of length nums minus 1. And the reason for this here, so what we're saying is we want to go through the list, so we're starting at our index 0 here, and we want to go all the way up until length of nums minus 1. And this range function here is actually not inclusive, so it's not going to include length of nums minus 1. It's actually going to be length of nums minus 1 minus 1. So it's not an inclusive bound here. So what this is saying is we want to go, this first outer for loop, we want to go all the way. So we go I, then we have I plus 1. we want to go all the way to this element. So we don't want to go all the way to length of nums here. We want to go to length of nums minus 1 here, just a little bit behind. And the reason for that is if we implement our second part, which is then we want to go through. So that's another for loop, this go through wording here. So that's another for loop. So if we say for j in range, and we want to do, where do we want to start? Well, we want to start at, if this is I right here, we want to start at I plus 1, which is here, and then go through the remaining. So we'll start at I plus 1, and then we will go all the way this time to the length of nums, because we actually want to have this endpoint here. So now what's next here? So now we go through the remaining list to check if the current nums add to the target. I mean, the cool thing about using Python is that it's so easy to convert kind of this pseudo code here in your level 1 into actual code because it's such a high level language. So we already have our if statement right here. So if the current nums add to the target, then we want to return something. So we can actually write that out. So if the current nums that we're on, so that would be nums I, and then plus nums j here, if that equals our target value, then all we want to do is actually return, and remember for this problem we want to return the indices of the two numbers, not the two numbers themselves. So we want to actually return I and j here. So this is level 2, and we can actually go ahead and run this. This is level 2, and you'll see that it's accepted, it passes this first solution here. So this is level 2, which is implementing level 1 solution. So if now we want to kind of switch gears and look at level 3, and with level 3 you want to change the way you approach the problem, and you want to start seeing things in terms of what's efficient and what's inefficient. So anytime you see this nested for loop, red flags should be going off, because this is not the most efficient solution that we can do, and we can actually do a lot better. So level 3 requires a little bit more coding knowledge and maybe refactoring of the problem and how you actually approach the problem. So if we look at this problem again here, let's go ahead and remove level 2 there. So if we look at this problem again here, we don't want to go through the list and then go through the remaining, because remember, that's 2 nested for loops. Is there a different way that we can approach the problem to get a faster result? And the answer is yes. So if we think about it this way, we have a static number here, something that's given to us is pretty static. That's not going to change this target. Is there a way to approach the problem from a different angle to look at that? So if we go ahead and think about something like this, if we subtract our target, so 9 minus our current index, which would be 7, does 7 exist in this list? Well, it does. And you can notice that we've only really gone through the list once by doing that. In order to do that, you would need to understand a different data structure, such as a hash map. So if we create something called, I'll call it target map here, which is a hash map which has O of 1 lookup time, so it's a lot faster to throw things in a hash map and then be able to grab those values back. So if we kind of go through our same logic here, we do want to go through the list. So if we go through the list, we can say for index this time to make it a little more clear. For index, and then we'll say in range. And what we want to do is go to length of nums this time, because we're not double looping. So we want to actually go all the way to the end of the list there. Then we want to check. And here's the new way to approach the problem. And we can say if the target minus the nums here, so we'll say nums at that index point, if that is inside our target map already, then it's simple. We just want to return that. So we will return because we want to have it in a list form here. So we will return the target map. We'll return the target map at the current target minus nums index here, and then comma there. No, we want a comma here. So then we return also the index. And if not, then what we want to do is store that value inside our hash map that we created here. So it's going to be nums and then index, and with the hash map, it's a key value pair. So the key is going to be that nums index, and then the value here, we can also turn the index there. So what we're doing here, in case you were going through all this and not quite understanding what was going on, that's perfectly fine. What we're doing here is we're looping through the entire list here. So we're going to start here, which is nums index, because index starts at 0. So we start at 2. Then we want to check, is 9 minus 2 inside the target map? Currently, no, because it's an empty value here. So what we're going to store is in our target map. So we don't even hit this if or we fail this if statement. So we go to this target map here, and we're going to store that current that current number as well as its index pair. So now we're storing 2 in there. So then we go through and we check, is 9 minus 7, is that in the target map? Well, yes, it is, because we just put in there 2. So because 9 minus 7 is in that target map, then all we need to do is return 2 here, the index, so 0, and then also return the index for the current element that we're on now, which is 1. So that's level 3 there. It requires a little more coding knowledge, but not too much. And you also want to be able to look at the problem in a different way and see how you can use the given information rather than just going through and searching for something like a level 2 solution. For level 3, you want to optimize and figure out, is there a different way that I can approach this problem in order to get the correct solution? So let's go ahead and run this and see. So we can see here we have run this test case 38 milliseconds, so a lot faster, and we've gotten rid of that nested for loop, and we only have one for loop here. So hopefully that helps you out to go through the 3 different levels of approaching a coding problem, and you can use this in any coding interview or for practicing, and just be sure to always explain your solution and write out your problem, so that way people can understand kind of what you're thinking and how you're approaching the problem. Because also, you may be able to see this level 3 solution, but you are only at the scale of a level 1 here. So all you would need to do is actually write out that solution to demonstrate to whoever you're interviewing with that, hey, I understand this is the most efficient solution that I can find at the moment. And I just don't know how to implement it in code, but I do understand kind of this is the best practice. So hopefully that helps you out there.